True or false? You need a 20% down payment in order to buy a house.
That would be false.
All right, y'all. Welcome to the Big D Buzz, and today we are here with Ashley again.
And today we are going to discuss down payment assistance. I know there's a lot of talk about it, but what does it really mean? How do you qualify for it? Is it available for everyone? And we're just going to kind of go over just a little bit of that. Not every loan officer and mortgage company is licensed to do those programs, so it is important that you make sure that you work with a loan officer that is licensed to be able to issue those programs. A lot of people qualify them. Did you know, Blake, that you don't even have to be a first-time home buyer to actually qualify for those? So that's a big myth that a lot of people think you have to be a first-time homeowner or home buyer to qualify for those funds, but you actually don't. There's so many different programs out there to help people. I mean, buying a house is really expensive, and so you can actually receive your entire down payment covered in full by these assistance programs, which is great. And kind of what we discussed last week, the market right now is actually a buyer's market, so we can get the seller to pay your closing costs, and that pretty much equals you coming to closing with no money out of pocket.
That's awesome, especially with the affordability challenges that everybody's having right now. So let me ask you, so is that with every loan, FHA loans, conventional loans, VA loans?
All of them. Yep, they all qualify. So depending on credit score, depending on debt to income ratio, will depend on if we're going to do a conventional loan or an FHA loan. If it's in the rural area, kind of like we're in right now, that would qualify for a USDA loan, which is a no money down loan anyways. And then we take the first-time homebuyer program or grant and cover the closing costs, and you come to closing with no money out of pocket. So there's really lots of options to make buying a house really, really affordable and keep money in your savings account and not have to spend it all to buy a house.
That's awesome. So is there a certain percentage with the different loan types that people may qualify for?
Yes. So depending on if you go conventional, FHA, or USDA, there is a percentage amount of the program that you would get to go towards your down payment and closing costs. And all that just kind of plays into account what the credit score is and what your debt to income ratio is. Because obviously the more free money, the little bit higher the interest rate. So that's kind of where they get you. But honestly, the rates right now are right in line with your traditional financing.
So like we said before, so you don't need 20% down in order to purchase a house, right?
No, you sure don't.
Awesome. So for a conventional loan, what's the typical down payment amount or percentage based off the purchase price?
Yeah, so conventional down payment amount, you can do as low as 3%. And FHA, actually, you have to have 3.5%. So conventional, you can actually only put down 3% and do a conventional loan. Conventional financing does require, and you need a little bit higher credit score, which we can dive into the reasons behind that a little bit later. Just kind of want to focus on the down payment part. But with conventional financing, you can get up to a 5% grant to cover the entire 3% down payment, along with a small portion of your closing costs. Same thing for FHA too.
Awesome. So let's talk about like buying down the interest rate. So technically we could get assistance for our down payment. And then, like we said, it's a buyer's market, so a lot of sellers are willing to negotiate right now and offer concessions. And for those concessions, it could either go towards our out-of-pocket closing cost or buying down the interest rate.
So
right?
With the programs, we cannot buy down the rate. So the programs actually set that interest rate. So I have no control over that, whichever program. And we have several that we can choose from. So we shop to see who has the best interest rate. But all of the funds that the seller gives you will pay all the closing costs. And, I've seen some negotiations with TVs and curtains and things like that, and that can all be rolled into that amount.
Awesome. And so for a real life example here recently, I think the past couple months, we were able to close out a loan, and they brought how much to the table?
They brought $0, and they actually got their earnest money back. So when you purchase a home, one of the first things you have to do is write that earnest money check, which is the good faith deposit to the seller, letting them know you're serious about this offer. And if you back out outside of your option period, you do lose those funds. But because that came out of their bank account, we used the first-time homebuyer program. The seller paid the closing costs, and they actually got their earnest money back. So they literally paid no money to buy the house.
That's insane. And that's why it's important, though, that you pick the right people and you work with the right people that care about you, right? And you want to make this successful for you with as much or as less money out of pocket as possible.
Yeah.
So you talked about credit scores. Let's say my credit score isn't up to par. I had a couple, red flags in the past. How do we resolve that, or how do we go about working to get that a little higher?
So one of the things that people typically go straight to is they go and they tend to dispute everything on their credit report, and that's really not the way to go. So what happens is when you dispute an item, it artificially inflates your credit score because it thinks that's really not yours. But what happens is when you go to buy a house, you can't have anything disputed on your credit report. So then we have to take all those disputes off, and then your credit score drops. So please don't dispute that. I actually have a way to analyze your credit report, tell you exactly what you need to do to fix your credit, whether it's bring it up 5, 10, 15, 50 points. And then we just put a game plan in place to get that score up. So please don't go to credit repair and pay hundreds of dollars because all they're going to do is dispute items. Please don't go and dispute items. Let me help you. I can fix it.
So that sounds like it'd be pretty expensive, right? Like how much? What is it? What would it cost me in order to do that?
Nothing.
Wow.
$0. Just a phone call. Just give me a call. We'll do an application. I'll pull your credit, and then we'll get you on a game plan.
So even if I'm not ready to buy a house today, what you're saying is I can contact you today, and let's say, the credit score is a little low or whatever it may be. You can give me a plan to where, 3 to 6 months from now, I may be eligible, and you're not just going to leave me alone, or you're not going to forget about me if I'm not ready to buy a house or I don't qualify.
Absolutely, yes. And we will have that conversation. If it's something that is really, really small, maybe we only need a few points, then maybe we'll be good to go in just a couple of weeks. But if it's something that we know is going to need a full 3, 6, 12 months, I promise I will not leave you. I will check up with you every month just to see progress, see where we're at. I will never ghost you. I will be with you side by side, and it won't cost you $1.
Awesome. So a little recap here. You don't need 20% to buy a house. You don't need 10% to buy a house. You can literally buy a house if you're eligible for no money whatsoever. Now to do that, you just got to work with the right people.
Yep.
So if you have any questions, it costs you $0. It doesn't even cost you a penny to reach out to us. And let's have that conversation. Let's see where you're at. Even if it's 6 months down the road, you might as well start getting stuff in the order now. So when the time comes, you're ready, and you're ready to go. Yes. So
there's a lot of people that wait until, my lease is up in a month and I need somewhere to go. Don't do that. Let's get ahead of the game and get that game plan going now. So that way when your lease is up, you're ready to go and move out.
All right, y'all. You heard it from the experts. So where can they find you at?
You can call me, 214-507-7631, or text me.
Awesome. And you can text or call me at 972-955-5019. You can find us on Facebook at the 4H Realty Group.
Ashley Wilburn.
Awesome.
Pretty simple.
Awesome. There you go. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time.
Bye.